Death at the gates again. Howling my name. Can't greet you today. I have a war to win.
Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my Wolfenstein, the New Order, Uber difficulty, video walkthrough. This is Chapter 10, the Berlin Catacombs. This is a two-parter, and the first part is all exploration underwater and a bit of puzzle solving. The second part is a massive enemy gauntlet, a very, very big one, the biggest one so far. But once again, there's a very safe spot for it that I'm going to show you, which is negligible in how effective it is. It all depends on how patient you are, but it'll work, and hopefully you'll be able to replicate it without any issue. Because this is a long video, I'm going to go back to the topic I started in Camp Bellica, and we're going to talk about those two websites I mentioned, Patreon and Subbable, and I'll explain what they are, what I think of them, and the pros and cons, and I'm welcoming feedback on what you think, and hopefully we'll be able to get something and see what's a good direction for this kind of support. So Patreon is a website created by YouTubers that enables people to directly support the artists that they love. A lot of people have referred to it as kind of like a Kickstarter, but instead of getting, you know, a huge project at the end, it's essentially a Kickstarter to keep the art that you enjoy, or whatever the creativity happens to be. You can be a vlogger, you can be a writer, you can be a stand-up comedian, it doesn't matter. It supports artists, and if you like what they do and you want to help them continue doing what they do, it allows you to become a patron. And a patron is free. Anybody can be a patron, but if you decide to donate towards them in the patron schemes that they offer, how it works is you can give any amount of money for any amount of time, and it all depends on how they've set up their patronage to work. I've only read the first few pages of this guy, so I don't know the full complete notion of it. I've watched a couple of other YouTubers explain it who are using it. One of the bigger ones that I noticed was a guy called Amazing Atheist, and he made a lot of sense and had a lot of things to say. It seemed a bit strange for him to be using it though, because he had like 200,000 subscribers or something crazy, so who knows, I don't understand that, but it was helping him out and he explained it rather well. So if you're curious, go there, but I'll continue with my bastardization of it. So the person who you're a patron of, the creator who you're essentially subscribing to, can moderate how those payments work. For instance, if you want to give $1, you can set it out how you want. It can be $1 a month, it can be $1 per video released, it can be a lot of different things. I believe the creator can set an amount for certain levels of subscription, whereas it could be $5 a month, it could be $5 per video, it could be $5 a week. I think some of the payment schemes work. I'm not entirely too sure how that's governed because I haven't made an account, because as I've mentioned I'm conflicted and I don't know if I should, so hence I'm asking this. And how it works is, I think there's an incentive scheme, and this is the part that I really disagree with. It's kind of ostracizing people who don't pay in. It's kind of saying, you've put certain amounts of money towards this system and you get all these awesome exclusivities, and the people who aren't are just, tight bastards. And I disagree with that a lot, because I don't like the incentive schemes. If somebody's going to be a patron of me, if I were to have an account, I would want to treat that person like I treat all the people that support me, So I don't really like the favoritism of it, but I don't understand it at the same time. And who knows, maybe you don't have to abide by those like class systems, which I would love to avoid, because I want to give everybody the best experience I can. It's not like I'm holding back some magical treats for people who, give me money or anything, because to me that's kind of underhanded, but that might be how this works. But essentially, it's kind of like those museums, where the museum is free, but at the end they have a donation bucket, and you get to give what you feel it's worth. Similar to when you buy music from an artist who isn't, sponsored by a record label. You get to say how much you think it's worth. And it's the human nature of, if you're an arsehole, you'll put $0 and get everything for free. But if you're somebody with a soul who respects the artistry, you'll give money. And a lot of the times, I know it's through guilt, which sucks, because I'm the same. I feel guilty with that. I always want to give more. But it gives people that opportunity. And that is pretty much what Patreon is. And a couple of subscribers have mentioned it to me. I've looked into it, but I don't know. Like, I know it would help, because I know there's a lot of people that are dying to help, because they've already made it known with the donations that they're giving me now, and they're always saying that they'd love to help more, but it's all they can do, and I completely get that, because as I've mentioned, I will never beg, folks. Even if I do get this Patreon thing, I will never ever make any kind of mandate onto it, because that's not how it should be handled. It should be a platform to people to feel like they're part of something, and that is all it should be. It shouldn't be, yo dogs, this is my link on every fucking video, this is what I want, give me money, because that is not the point. The other site is a site called Subbable, and this is made by those people, I forget the name of them. It's two brothers that make the science videos on YouTube. They're really popular, and they're really good videos. And this is very similar, but it works in different ways. And I'm probably confusing the difference in how this works. I think on Patreon you can give any amount, be it $1, be it $1.50 or something, all the way up to $10,000 if you're some kind of rich, megalomaniac. And I think on Subbable you can only give certain amounts. What I do know is Subbable has a perk system, and once again, this is what I really disagree with. Essentially, the stipulations to creating an account, because they vet you and everything, they make sure that you're viable, and you've got to have a bunch of criteria before you get there, but one of the stipulations is that you have to have these exclusive perks that the people who sub to you, because you're subbable, get this exclusivity things, and they list what it has to be. It can't be this, it can't be that, it has to be certain things. And that to me is, I understand it because it's giving people something visual back for what they're putting in, but I think it goes against the heart and soul of exactly what this is. Because to me, the ultimate patron in this kind of thing, the ultimate person that wants to support these channels that are trying to make their way in this oversaturated ocean of just content, they're the type of people that are putting forward with nothing, with no want for anything back. The satisfaction of it alone is the part that they enjoy, and that's kind of the spirit of it. When somebody's busking, you don't put a quid in his hat because you want his fucking hat. You do it because you enjoyed what he did and he entertains you, and it's the same logic there. So I think when they put this perk system in place, I think it incentivizes people to pay for shit. And while it's always cool to get exclusive shit, at the same time, what happens to the people who can't afford to pay? Why should I deny them this awesome content just because the stipulation says I have to have something exclusive for the people who put the money in? To me, it goes against the very nature that it's trying to prescribe. So I don't really think I would even go near the Subbable application. I think Patreon is definitely the only one I'd even consider. And even then, I'm conflicted because I don't know, it's such a strange thing, and you can say it however you want it. You can wrap it in pretty paper, you can mask it with colourful wordplay, but at the end of the day, it is people paying you money that they don't have to pay because it's free. And no doubt there will be countless accusations of e-begging, which is this hilarious new term, which it just seems kind of strange to me, but people will create those bits of internet language for anything. Like, how many times do you see the word hipster thrown around on something that you just think, how the fuck can this have anything to do with what that is? Yet people still will. Which, e-begging is interesting to me. Like, when you're over on Twitch you can be subscribed to, on Twitch you can donate, you can do a lot of these different things. There are channels that do fanfares and all these special announcements and stuff for their subscribers to give them that excitement and that rush of subscribing and that little bit of validation and affirmation. Is that e-begging? When they're running ads, when they're going to the toilet and things, like, it's just this strange culture of it's all fun and games until people pay for it. And it's definitely interesting, and it's definitely something worth discussing. Be careful here, guys, there's a couple of commanders, but I've got this place down because it's very simple, this first sequence. And I'm just curious what people think. because I don't know if it's worthwhile doing, and I don't know if it's one of those things that, like, if there's an open vehemence towards it, you know, why would you ever want to do this, then that is understandable. But if that's just one person, it's not a consensus, which is why I'm asking for the people who were actually this far into this guide and still watching, which not a lot of people will. I mean, this might be a 700 view video, and those 700 people are the same 700 people that watch everything I do. And they are the people that I want to hear from. You know, I don't really care too much about Johnny Nothing, who's just turned up on the video and wants to hate it because he thinks I'm asking and begging for money, which, if anybody has spent even a small amount of time on this channel will know, I never try to be that way. You know, guys, I don't want to take anybody's money. It's not what it's about. But at the same time, it can't continue at this rate without funding. So, and that is why I'm confiding, concide is not a word, in the people who matter most, which is you who are 11 minutes into this video and thinking about this, you know, seriously. Because it's, I don't know, like, in a dream situation, I would have not even had to make this conversation. You know, the videos would have got the affirmation that they needed, but they haven't, and they probably never will. And that is not a bad thing. You know, I like making the content that I make on YouTube. I like sharing it, and I like interacting with the people who enjoy it as well. And I don't think there'll be any incentive for me to ever stop that, but I've been doing it full on for a long time now, and maybe it's time for something different. I don't know. Maybe it's time for a different approach. So just let me know what you feel, guys. Let me know what it sounds like to you, what you would do, you know, what options you think are available. And this is not me asking for anybody to completely rehaul or overhaul the way I do YouTube. This is literally just on adding this link to a site called Patreon that enables you to support the creators that you enjoy. You know, it's not any deeper than that. And I just want to make it as clear as I can on the fact that this is in no way a reflection on anybody who doesn't care about this stuff. If you don't have any opinion, you don't have to share it. You know, if you don't want it, that's fine. That's not a problem. I'm looking to see what people feel like, and there is nothing mandatory here, guys. If you're not interested, the videos will always be free. That's the joy of YouTube. That's the thing I like most about YouTube. You know, you've got it there. See, that's a bullshit. Shoot the dog in its, albeit armoured face, it doesn't die. You can stab it in its neck and it dies. It's a bad dog. But I've been toiling over mentioning this for a while, ever since somebody told me about the Patreon thing on Twitter. And then a little bit later on, somebody mentioned the Subbable to me. So I did a little bit of research into them. And the more I dug, the more conflicted I got. So the best way to settle it is to ask you guys. And hopefully I've covered enough information for you yourself to do a bit of research and look into it and form an informed opinion. And we'll see what people think, see what gets said. Because it's not something that's going to be decided on the basis of that video. I won't immediately be making it if everyone's like, yeah, do it, dude, it's perfect. Because if I do make it, I want to make it mean something, and I want to completely understand it. And on the converse of this, if everybody's like, this is bullshit, it's not worth looking into, it's a con, because that's something I haven't mentioned, actually, and that is the amount of money that they take from what people contribute. So I think Patreon is 10%. So 10% of what everybody gives goes to them, but I think 5% of that goes to paying like Amazon for handling the money, and the other 5% goes towards maintenance of the site, which when you say it like that sounds a lot better, but it's still 10% off a figure, which is quite high. And then the Subbable one, I believe, is 8%. So a lot of the money that people are putting forward is getting split that way, which is something you have to be aware of, because you should always know where your money's going. But let me know how you feel, what you think about it, folks, and this will probably be one of the last times I speak about this until I've decided whether or not it's something that's going to help the channel or something that's going to hurt the channel. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and as always, you take care now.